George, I think it might be your opportunity to say some important things about people's response, whatever.
Oh, thanks, David. And yeah, good to see you on your balcony. I'm down here in a different season altogether, rather cool, wet Perth at the moment. And instead of looking out on your nice bird life there, well, we've got our bird life, but looking out on the ocean with the waves pretty wild at the moment, and some sea lions sitting on an island just opposite. So I'm here because I guess I realise the value of nature in my life and our life, and it's been part of my lifelong research, exploring how nature impacts on us and benefits us. And if we look at it from a bit of a historical perspective, our species have evolved in nature. And so we've had to, for our survival and for thriving, we've had to adjust to, adapt to, and utilise the changes of the seasons that are there for us. To know what to gather, to what to hunt, as I said, for our survival. And this evolution has gone on. Some people have put it on a time clock, like a 12-hour time clock, where just the last minute or two of that time clock would have us living in highly urbanised areas. The last second or two really just in the high-tech lifestyles that we tend to live nowadays. And so nature has been important. Research I discovered early in my career came not out of the clinical psychology areas where my specialty was, but really from environmental work, environmental psychology, architecture, anthropology, areas like this that show that contact with nature benefits us physically. When we get out into nature, we tend to exercise more, we're engaged more in it, we physically feel better. We feel psychologically better when we're making contact with nature. It lifts our spirits. Being in pleasant nature environments is inconsistent with feeling depressed, really. You walk out, you see one of those beautiful honey eaters that you have up on the slide, and it's damn hard to feel depressed while you're looking at such beauty as that. So psychologically, we feel so much better for it. Research shows that socially people engage more with others, and the beach area where I live, again, it's hard to come back from a beach walk feeling depressed, because people will say, wow, what a beautiful day, you know, don't we live in paradise? Have you seen the dolphin out there at the moment? And also there's the spiritual element that our research shows too. We feel spiritually more connected in nature. So it has multiple benefits for us. Enjoying that contact with it. So we need to be looking at preserving it, protecting it, looking after it. And the more we grow in cities, the more we become more densely populated, the more we need nature for that. And I think there's been a trend with the COVID situation. I don't know if you guys have noticed it up there, but areas where I go walking around here, the car parks have been full. People trying to escape their isolation from four walls and get back into nature a bit. So, I mean, that's a pretty potted version of it, but and it's not just being in nature, but it's also how we experience nature. I mean, we can take our bodies out there, but our heads can still be going around in the worrisome, ruminative thoughts that we brought from home or work or wherever. And you mentioned, and Neville mentions in his video too, about the need to connect with our senses. You invited us to close our eyes and smell. And part of the research that I've done in this area has really looked at how people connect with nature, how we can use our senses for it. So it's not just being in nature, but it's being mindfully in nature too. In a storm we had just a couple of days ago, I donned my waterproof, sat up on a sand dune and just experienced it. It was wild. And instead of retreating into the comfort of home, but to feel it, I felt alive in the vitality of being there, and went through a mindfulness process myself. When we're in that position, contact with nature, what are the things we see? What are the shapes? What are the colours? What are the movements and that are going on? Let's tune into that. What are the sounds that we're hearing? The call of the birds, the rustle of the leaves in the trees. What are the smells or the aromas, like the fire or the first rains after a long dry summer that impinge on our nose, the smell of the soil? Are there any tactile sensations? I love just plucking a eucalypt leaf and chewing as I walk. And the taste sensation. What are the tactile ones? The feel of the warmth of the sun on our skin, the cool of the breeze, the earth as we sit on it. It's not just being in nature, but it's making that very mindful contact too. And I think you've brought these things up very well. So let's look at the seasonal changes. They're part of that experience of making that contact for us too. So yeah, I would encourage folk not just to enjoy the beauty that you guys are able to describe so well, but to engage in it through the senses, to do that meaningfully and get out and enjoy it. We have it. Let's love it and enjoy it.
Thanks, George. That's great. I agree 100%. And I mean, certainly, obviously, I get a buzz out of nature.